Welcome back to TechWolf. In this video I'm going to cover 40 CompTIA A+ questions. And first question is, which of the following symptoms is most likely a sign of ransomware? A large number of ads appear, files on devices are inaccessible, internet connectivity is lost, or battery life is reduced. Here the correct answer is files on devices are inaccessible. And next question is, a technician has been directed to dispose of hard drives from company laptops properly. Company standards require the use of high-powered men to destroy data on decommissioned hard drives. Which of the following data destruction methods should the technician choose? Shredding, incinerating, drilling, or degazing? And here the correct answer is degazing. A user reports being unable to access the internet or use wireless headphones on a mobile device. A technician confirms the headphones properly connect to another device. Which of the following should the technician do to solve this issue? Connect to a different service set identifier, disable near-field communication, turn off airplane mode, or test the battery on the device. And here the correct answer is turn off the airplane mode. A sales staff member recently left a laptop at a hotel and needs a new one immediately. After remotely wiping the old laptop, a support technician prepares to take new laptop out of inventory to begin the deployment process. Which of the following should the technician do first? Document the serial numbers and usernames for asset management, recycle all the cardboard and other shipping materials appropriately, call the hotel and demand old laptop to be sent back to the repair depot, confirm shipping address for new laptop with the sales staff member. And here the correct answer is document the serial numbers and usernames for asset management. A technician is installing M.2 devices in several workstations. Which of the following would be required when installing the devices? Electrostatic discharge straps, ergonomic floor mats, air filtration, or heat-resistant gloves. And the correct answer here is electrostatic discharge straps. And next question, a user Windows desktop continuously crashes during boot. A technician runs the following command in safe mode and then reboots the desktop. The user's profile is damaged, the system files are corrupted, the hard drive needs to be defragmented, or the system needs to have a restore performed. And correct answer here is the system files are corrupted. And next question, a user calls the IT help desk and explains that all the data on the user's computer is encrypted. The user also indicates that the pop-up message on the screen is asking for payment in bitcoins to unlock the encrypted data. The user's computer is most likely infected with which of the following? Spyware, botnet, rootkit, or ransomware? And the correct answer here is ransomware. A network engineer needs to update a network firewall, which will cause a temporary outage. The network engineer submits a change request form and performs the required maintenance. If the firewall update fails, which of the following is the next step? Acquire end-user acceptance, perform risk analysis, request a change approval, or execute a backout plan. And the correct answer here is execute a backout plan. Which of the following workstation operating systems use NTFS for the standard file system type? macOS, Windows, Linux, or Chrome operating system? And the correct answer here is Windows. Which of the following Linux commands will display a directory of files? ls, chown, chmod, or cls? And here correct answer is ls command. A technician arrives on site to find that two users who have the same model of Android smartphone are having the same issue with a specific application. Whenever they attempt to launch the application, it fails and gives an error message. Which of the following should the technician do first? Update the operating system of the smartphones, clear the application cache, reinstall the application, roll back the application to the earlier version. Here the correct answer is update the operating system of the smartphones. A technician is working on Windows 10 PC that is running slowly. Which of the following commands should the technician use to correct this issue? And here we need to choose two answers. And here the correct two answers is dism and check disk. As check disk, this command checks the file system and file system metadata of volume for logical and physical errors. It can help fix issues that might be causing the PC to run slowly. And dism, the deployment image service and management tool, can be used to repair and prepare Windows images, including the Windows recovery environment, Windows setup and Windows PE. It can help resolve system corruptions that might be affecting performance. An administrator is setting up Windows Terminal Server. Which of the following settings should the administrator modify to increase server security? And here also we need to check two correct answers. Enforce a password complexity, use the local client certificate for server authentication, change the default access port, put the terminal server into the router's DMZ, disable logon time restrictions, or block all unsupported ports on the local area network or LAN smart switch. And the correct answer here is enforce a password complexity and change the default access port. Change the default access port. Changing the default port, usually 3389 for RDP or remote desktop protocol, makes it harder for attackers to find and exploit the terminal server. And enforce a password complexity, ensuring strong complex passwords reduce the risk of unauthorized access through brute force attacks. A company has hired a new IT firm to manage its network switches and routers. The firm is geographically separated from the company and will need to be able to securely access these devices. Which of the following will provide the ability to access these devices? Telnet, RDP, VNC, or SSH? And here the correct answer is SSH, Secure Shell. A small office's wireless network was compromised recently by an attacker who brute forced a PIN to gain access. The attackers then modified the DNS settings on the router and spread malware on the entire network. Which of the following configurations most likely allowed the attack to take place? And here also we'll need to choose two options. Guest network, default login, WPS, outdated firmware, TKIP or WEP. And here correct answers are default login and WPS. Default login, using default login credentials makes it easy for attackers to gain access to the router's settings. And WPS, Wi-Fi protected setup or WPS, is vulnerable to brute force attacks, allowing attackers to easily gain access to the network. For a newly added storage drive, this command line tool allows to configure it with file system, enabling Windows to store information on the drive. Is it a format, or is it a GPart, SF disk, or mount? And correct answer here is format. Next question, which of the following command prompt commands in the Microsoft Windows can be used to copy one or more files from one location to another? Copy, CP, push D, or move? And correct answer here is copy. Which Microsoft Windows command line commands allows for copying multiple files and directories, including subdirectories? Move, robocopy, copy, xcopy, or cp command? And here the correct answers are robocopy, and xcopy. And next question, which copying utility accessible via Windows command line interface offers the widest range of options? Copy, CP, robocopy, move or xcopy? And correct answer here is robocopy. Which of the command prompt commands listed below allows for updating multiple group policy settings in Microsoft Windows? bcdedit, gpresult, gpupdate, netuser. Correct answer here is gpupdate. A command line tool in Windows that displays group policy information for a machine or user is called netview, gpupdate, verify, or gpresult. So this command displays group policy information for a machine or user in Windows. And the correct answer here is gpresult. The following command can be used to shut down or restart a local or remote host running Microsoft Windows. Which command is it? Power off, shut down, boot SFG, or exit? And the correct answer here is shut down. The SFC command prompt utility in Microsoft Windows, what it does: checks a disk and displays a status report, displays information about system hardware and software configuration, encrypts files and folders, scans the integrity of all protected system files and replaces incorrect version with correct Microsoft version. So SFC. And the correct answer here is scans the integrity of all protected system files and replaces incorrect versions with the correct Microsoft versions. And if you don't know these commands, then watch my full course. I have full course on Windows command prompt. I will leave it in first pinned comment of this video, where we cover these commands in more depth. Which command line commands in Windows can be used to display help information related to a specific utility? Select two answers: command name and help, help and command name info, command name /?, or man command name. And this is asking about Windows commands. So man command is straight away not relevant, as this is for Linux environments. The correct answers here is command name /?, and help followed by command name. Submit, and this is correct. Which of the command prompt commands in Microsoft Windows launches a text-based command line partitioning utility? Diskpart, gpart, diskutil, or sfdisk? And here the correct answer is diskpart. Which network command line utility in Windows combines the features of ping and traceroute? passping, rpcping, netsfg, or dig? And correct answer here is passping. And let's click it, and yes, this is correct. Which of the command prompt commands in Microsoft Windows launches a pop-up window containing brief summary of the installed operating system? So which command, if you would be using that command, which would return you operating system? So system info, msinfo32, msconfig, or winware. And here I believe that all of you already know that this is winware. If you will type this command in command prompt, it will return you a pop-up of your Windows version. And which command prompt commands in Microsoft Windows move the command line prompt one folder up in directory tree? Set the prompt at the parent folder of the current folder. Select two answers: chdir, / cd / and this sign, cd ::, chdir ::, and this sign, and cd and /. And here the correct answers are cd : and chdir : as cd and chdir are the same commands, only cd is the shortcut of chdir. And by typing in cd : it will bring you one folder back or higher in your folder hierarchy. And let's check it, and this is correct. Which of the Windows command line commands listed below change the current directory to the root directory? chdir \, cd/r, cd \, chdir ... cd ... and chdir/r. And here we need to select two answers. Which of the Windows command line commands listed below change the current directory to the root directory? So the correct answers here are chdir \, as all we need to type is \, and cd also \, as again these are the same commands, only this is cd is a shortcut of chdir command, and by typing a \ after them will bring us to root directory or to C directory or D directory, depends on what partition or on what disk you are on your computer. And let's check it, and this is correct. Which of the following answers refers to an IP config parameter used for displaying the full TCP IP configuration information for all adapters? -a, /a, /all, and /? So, which one of these parameters we need to enter after IP config command to display the full TCP IP configuration information for all adapters on the computer? So, the correct answer here is /all. And a network technician uses Remote Desktop Protocol or RDP client on their Windows operating system to remotely troubleshoot a problem on another Windows machine. Which of the following ports need to be opened for the built-in Windows RDP server to allow this type of network connection? Port TCP port 1720, TCP port 636, TCP port 3389, or TCP port 445. And correct answer here is TCP port 3389. On this question we need to answer with false or true. So the Run as Administrator option in Microsoft Windows, available after right-clicking on the command prompt application icon, enables execution of shell commands reserved for System Administrator. And here this is true, because if we enable Run as Administrator on our command line, this will allow us to execute administrative permission or system administrative permission commands. And let's check it, and this is correct. Which of the following answers describes the function of Task Manager taskmgr.exe select all that apply? So, which of these answers which are listed here describes the taskmgr.exe or task manager function? Allows to schedule the launch of programs or scripts at predefined times or after specified time intervals. Allows system administrators to manage the currently logged in users. In Windows 8 or newer releases of the Microsoft operating system, provides access to user applications that can be enabled, disabled during system boot. Displays information on programs, processes, and services that are currently running on the computer. Allows to close non-responsive applications in Windows. And provides real-time reports on how a Windows-based computer is using system resources like CPU, RAM, disk, network, GPU usage, and provides tools for managing network traffic. Here correct answers are, let's start from the top. So first answer is not correct, second answer is correct answer, as it allows system administrators to manage the currently logged in users. This is one of the functionality of Task Manager or one of the functions of Task Manager. In Windows 8 and newer releases of Microsoft operating system provides access to user applications that can be enabled, disabled during system boot. This is also correct answer. And displays information on programs, processes and services that are currently running on the computer. Also correct answer. And it allows also to close non-responsive applications in Windows. And it provides real-time reports on how Windows-based computer is using system resources. This is also correct answer. This is about Task Manager. I will show you what what this is talking about. Just if someone doesn't know what Task Manager is, this is the Task Manager on your computer, and these are the parts: processes, performance, app history, startup apps, users, details, and services. This is what this question is referring to Task Manager. And let's submit it, and all answers are correct. Which tab of the Windows 10 Task Manager provides an interface for managing background processes? And this question is also about Task Manager. So which tab on Task Manager provides an interface for managing background processes? Startup, processes, performance, services, or users? And here the correct answer is services. As on Windows 10 Taskbar Manager, if you click on it, it will display the interface for managing background processes. And click OK. Which Task Manager tab in Windows 10 allows to enable, disable applications that are launched automatically when signing into a user account? Processes, startup, services, performance, users, none of the above. And here the correct answer is startup. Let's click it, and this is correct. Question: what is the name of Task Manager tab in Windows 10 that provides access to a real-time graphs showing total CPU, memory, disk, network, and GPU resource usage? Users, services, performance, processes, or startup? And here the correct answer is performance. And next question: which Task Manager tab in Windows 10 provides real-time information about system resources used by running applications and background processes? And this is also about Task Manager. So which one of those tabs provides real-time information about system resources used by running applications and background processes? So processes, users, services, performance, or startup? And here the correct answer is processes. Which of the answers listed below describes the correct sequence of steps required to close a non-responsive user application in Task Manager in Windows 10? As you know, in some scenarios applications stop working, they freeze, or they become unresponsive, and you would want to shut it down or close that application, and you are not able to do it from user interface. And there is also an option from Task Manager to do this and to close the application. Which of these questions best describes the correct sequence of steps required to close a non-responsive application in this Task Manager in Windows 10? On the Applications tab, right-click on the app that isn't responding and select End Task, or left-click on the app and use End Task button in the bottom right corner of the tab. On the App History tab, as you can see, here are differences only. It is asking about on Application tab, on App History tab, App Performance tab, or on the App Processes tab. So if you're having these long questions in exam, for example, as I have also been passing CompTIA Plus exam, so whenever you are having long questions, you straight away by question you try to grasp the idea what is being asked, and then only by starting reading the beginnings of the answers, if the answers are long, you can straight away target the correct answer, as the beginnings of these questions were referring to the tabs. And if the tab is incorrect, as here is on the Applications tab, on the App History tab, on the Performance tab, or on Processes tab, you straight away would know what this question is referring to and on which tab that would be, without reading all text. And then once you have selected on which tabs, then you can read that whole question. So in this particular scenario, which one of the answers listed below describes the correct sequence of steps required to close a non-responsive user application in Task Manager in Windows 10? And here we can see straight away that on the Applications tab and on the Performance tab is not correct, and on Processes tab would be the correct answer, as this is under the Processes tab. And let's click OK, and this is the correct answer. A type of customizable framework providing access to a collection of system utilities in the form of so-called snap-ins, designed to manage networks, computers, services, and other system components in Microsoft Windows, is known Administrative Tools, PowerShell, .NET, or MMC. And here the correct answer is MMC. And this is the correct answer. Which of the following launches the GUI or Graphical User Interface System utility for managing storage media in Windows? diskmgmt.msc, compmgmt.msc, devmgmt.msc, diskpart.exe. And the correct answer here is diskmgmt.msc. And submit. A client wants a technician to create a PC naming convention that will make the client's PC easier to track and identify while in use. Which of the following naming conventions formats should the technician follow? Domain name location, IP address, domain name location asset ID, MAC address, or location RFID. And here the correct answer is domain name location asset ID, as this format includes the domain name, which helps identify the network the PC belongs to, the location for physical tracking, and the asset ID for unique identification. This combination makes it easier to manage and track PCs within an organization. And question number 17, which of the following provides the best security for the server room? And here we also need to check two. Cable lock, privacy window shades, badge reader, bollard, USB token, or biometric lock. And here the correct answers are badge reader and biometric lock. As badge reader, this allows only authorized personnel to access the server room by scanning their ID badges, ensuring controlled entry. And biometric lock, this provides an additional layer of security by requiring a unique biological trail like a fingerprint or a retina scan for access, making it very difficult for unauthorized individuals to gain entry. Which of the following threats uses personalized information in an attempt at obtaining information? Spoofing, spear phishing, impersonation, or whaling? And here correct answer is spear phishing. As spear phishing is a target attempt to steal sensitive information such as account credentials or financial information from a specific individual, often using personalized information to make the attack more convincing. This differs from general phishing, which targets a broader audience. A technician receives an invalid certificate error when visiting website with port 443 enabled. Other computers on the same LAN do not exhibit this symptom. Which of the following needs to be adjusted to fix the issue? User access control, UEFI boot mode, date and time, or logon times? And here the correct answer is date and time, as SSL certificates rely on the correct date and time settings to validate their authenticity. If the date and time on the workstation are incorrect, it can cause certificate errors when accessing website over HTTPS port 443 or 443. Which of the following is the amount of memory a user is limited with a 32-bit version of Windows? 16 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, or 2 GB? And here the correct answer is 4 GB. As 4 GB, a 32-bit version of Windows can address a maximum of 4 GB of RAM. This limitation is due to the way 32-bit system allocate memory addresses. A technician is working at the help desk firm and receives a call from a user who has experienced repeated BSODs. The technician is scheduled to take a break just after the call comes in. Which of the following is the best choice for the technician to make? Troubleshoot the issue for the user, ask another technician to take the call, politely ask the user to call back, put the user on hold and troubleshoot after the scheduled break, input the issue as a ticket and escalate to tier 2. And the correct answer here is ask another technician to take the call. The best choice for the technician in this scenario is ask another technician to take the call. This ensures that the user's issue is addressed promptly without delay, which is crucial for resolving repeated BSODs or blue screen of death that can significantly disrupt the user's work. It also allows the technician to take their scheduled break without compromising the quality of support provided to the user. A user's phone contains customer's PII. The user can have the phone automatically wiped because the data is very valuable. Which of the following is the best method of securing the phone? PIN lock, fingerprint lock, passcode lock, or swipe lock? And correct answer here is fingerprint lock. The best method for securing the phone in this scenario is a fingerprint lock. Fingerprint locks provide a high level of security because they are unique to the individual and difficult to replicate. This method ensures that only the authorized user can access the phone, protecting the valuable customer PII or personally identifiable information. Which of the following devices are most likely to have a grounding wire attached to them based on the manufacturer's design? And choose two: desktop printer, patch panel, server rack, PoE phone, UPS, or modem. And here the correct answer is server rack and UPS. UPS and server racks, these devices typically require grounding to ensure safety and proper operation. Grounding helps protect against electrical faults and reduces the risk of electricity shock or damage to the equipment. Hello guys and welcome back to TechWolf, and in this video we are going to do CompTIA Plus Core 2 Practice Test. And I will be also using Skill Test Pro. Here you can see there are many examinations. I will go into CompTIA Plus, practice tests. There are PBQs, as you can see guys. They are working, they are adding more and more questions here. And we will be doing CompTIA Plus Core 2. A technician needs to remove a virus from a user's computer. What should be done first? Delete all user files, disable Windows Update, reinstall the operating system, or disconnect from the network. Which would be the correct answer here? And the correct answer here is disconnect from the network, as disconnecting from the network prevents the malware from spreading or downloading additional malicious files. And next question. A technician is helping a user who is unable to open certain files on a USB drive formatted with NTFS. So, as you know, NTFS, or as you should know, that NTFS is Microsoft's file system, and it stands for New Technology File System. And here the user is using a Mac OS computer. What is the best solution? Convert the file system to HFS+, format the drive to exFAT, install NTFS driver for macOS, enable BitLocker encryption, or disable antivirus software. And here the correct answer is install an NTFS driver for a Mac OS. Like I mentioned guys, what you should know is that NTFS is Microsoft's file system, and we should install an NTFS driver for Mac OS to be able to run these files. So Mac OS can read NTFS formatted drives but cannot write to them without third-party software. And next question. A technician needs to choose a file system for a new Linux installation that supports journaling and file permissions. Which file system should they use? FAT32, exFAT, ext4, NTFS, or HFS+. And here the correct answer when it comes to Linux is ext4. Ext4 is the standard Linux file system that supports journaling and advanced file permissions. The next question. A user reports that their computer is running very slowly. Task Manager shows that the CPU is running at 100% and multiple unknown processes are using system resources. What is the first step the technician should take? update the graphics driver, run an antivirus scan, increase the page file size, reinstall the operating system, or disable user account control, or UAC, UAC, I call it also UAC. And by the way guys, in future I will also be doing PBQs, as many of you are asking me to do also practice based questions. Those I will also be doing in my future videos. So if you are new to my channel, consider subscribing, as these are also coming soon. So as we are covering different practice exams, we are covering CompTIA practice exams like A+, Network Plus, Security Plus and many others from CompTIA, Microsoft and Cisco here on TechWolf channel. And I also have Udemy courses, which you can find linked to in description and in first pinned comment of this video. So what is the correct answer here? And here the correct answer is run an antivirus scan, as unknown processes consuming high CPU usage are often signs of malware infection. And this one example could be Bitcoin miner installed on your computer, which is mining Bitcoin, for example, or using processing power of your computer to mine the Bitcoin, and it does it behind the scenes, so it is using CPU or central processing unit or processor of your computer, or processing resources of your computer. There are many ways how you can tell it. And next question, a user reports that they are unable to install software updates because of insufficient disk space. What is the best tool to resolve this issue? Event viewer. So the question is pretty much asking is what tool you would open on your Windows computer to resolve this issue. Event viewer, Windows Defender, disk cleanup, task scheduler, or device manager. And the correct answer here would be disk cleanup, as disk cleanup removes temporary and unnecessary files to free up disk space. And next question, a user complains that their Windows laptop frequently displays pop-up ads even when no browser is open. What should the technician check first? So if you have pop-up ads, and this is the common issue, if you have been visiting some malicious websites, they are installing this pop-up ads software on your computer. So in this scenario, what should the technician or you as a user check first? Task Manager for suspicious background processes, screen resolution settings, Windows activation status, BIOS version, or the printer spooler service. And the correct answer here is that first what you should do is to check the Task Manager for suspicious background processes. As on your Task Manager, as you know guys, you can check what applications are running on your computer. And this would be the correct answer, as here is explanation. Persistent pop-ups often indicate malware running in the background. Next question, a technician needs to securely remove all data from a hard drive before disposing of it. What is the best method? Delete all files manually, disable the user account, change the file system to exFAT, low-level format, or move the files to the recycle bin and empty it. What would be the best solution here? And here the best solution would be low-level format, as a low-level format permanently erases all data, preventing recovery. A user reports that their antivirus software is constantly being disabled and unknown programs keep installing on their Windows PC. What is the most likely cause? A rootkit infection, a faulty RAM module, a misconfigured firewall, an outdated video driver, or corrupt display settings. And here the correct answer is a rootkit infection, as a rootkit can disable security software and allow unauthorized installations. And by the way guys, I'm not talking too much in these types of videos where I'm creating these practice tests for these exams just to keep you focused on these exams rather than talking too much and wasting your time. So with that said, let's go to the next question. A technician is configuring a security setting on a Windows 10 computer. And by the way guys, however this is for the latest exam, you should also be aware of Windows 11 and Windows 10 computer systems, and there might be even on your exam even questions from the earlier versions of Windows operating system, so be aware about it. So the organization requires that users be prompted before installing any new software. What should the technician enable? Windows Defender Firewall, here you should know about applets, Windows Recovery Mode, User Account Control or UAC or UAC, I call it UAC usually, Secure Boot or Event Viewer Login. What would be the correct answer here? And here is the correct answer, User Account Control or UAC or UAC, as UAC prompts users before allowing software installation to prevent unauthorized changes. A user is unable to open an encrypted file they created last week on Windows 10. They recently changed their Windows password. What is the most likely reason? The file system is corrupt. The encryption key was tied to the previous user credentials. The Windows Update service is disabled. The file was converted to a different format, or the file has been quarantined by antivirus software. And the correct answer here is the encryption key was tied to the previous user credentials, as Windows encrypts files using user credentials, and changing the password can cause access issues. A user is having trouble connecting to a corporate VPN. Other users can connect without issues. What should the technician check first? Monitor refresh rate, Windows activation status, the user's firewall settings, printer spooler settings, or device manager. So if a user can't connect to VPN or company VPN or company files by using VPN, however, as you see, other users can do it. So what the technician check first with the user, probably with his computer, what is happening, why he can't connect to the VPN. However, obviously this VPN connection is working, as other users can connect without any issues. And here the correct answer is the user's firewall settings. That is what the technician should check, as firewall can block VPN connections, preventing access, as you know from firewall rules if you have been studying for this Core 2 exam. A technician needs to configure file sharing on macOS computers so that a Windows user can access shared folders. What file sharing protocol should be enabled? And here you should know about file sharing protocols on macOS. The keyword here is a technician needs to configure file sharing on macOS computer. And for this Core 1 and Core 2 exams, you should also know about macOS. In previous exam, in 102, which was previous CompTIA exam, they were not concentrating so much on macOS and on Linux. However, in this exam, you should also be more aware on these questions. And file systems are AFP, NFS, or protocols, sorry guys, AFP, NFS, SMB, RDP, or FTP. So which one should be the correct answer here? And the correct answer is server message block, or SMB, as it is the standard file sharing protocol for Windows and macOS interoperability. A user reports that they accidentally deleted an important file and needed to restore it. So user deleted a file by mistake and he needs it to be restored. What tools the technician use? Group Policy Editor, Task Scheduler, previous versions in Windows, Device Manager, or Windows Defender. And the correct answer here is previous versions in Windows, as Windows allows users to restore previous versions or files if file history or system restore is enabled. And a technician needs to create a full backup of Windows 11 system, including user files and system settings. What backup method should they choose? Here you should know about backups. Incremental backup, differential backup, file copy, system image backup, or task scheduler backup. And here the correct answer is system image backup, as a system image backup creates a full copy of the operating system, applications and files. So remember that a system image backup creates a full backup of your operating system, your applications which are on that operating system, and all files which are pretty much of everything on your Windows 11. And next question, a user reports that they are receiving access denied errors when trying to delete a file. What is the best tool to resolve this issue? So, user reports they are deleting or trying to delete a file and getting an error, access denied. So most likely this is to do with user permissions. You can straight away understand that access denied, this means that access denied to this feature for this particular user. And answers are NTFS permissions, Windows Update, Task Manager, Device Manager, or Disk Cleanup. Which would be the correct answer here? And I already kind of told you, sorry guys, but this is NTFS permissions. As NTFS file permissions control access and modification rights for files. And you can set them also on your operating system for some files or folders. A technician needs to verify network connections and troubleshoot connectivity issues. Which command line tool should they use? So now you should also know about command line tools for this Core 2 exam. Check disk, disk part, ipconfig, dxdiag, or msconfig. And the correct answer here would be ipconfig, as ipconfig displays network configurations and helps troubleshoot connectivity problems. A user is complaining about slow performance when browsing the web. Other applications work fine. What should the technician check first? Disk fragmentation, browser extensions and cache, monitor refresh rate, Windows activation, or printer driver update. And here the correct answer is, when it is come to web, the most logical would be browser extensions and cache, as a large browser cache or excessive extensions can slow down web browsing. A user complains that their system keeps restarting after installing Windows updates. What is the most likely cause? So you have your Windows operating system, you just updated it, or you installed the Windows updates, and what could be the problem? Because a user complains that their system keeps restarting. If your system keeps restarting, overheating CPU, insufficient storage space, defective power supply, or corrupt update files. And the correct answer here is corrupt update files, as a system that restarts repeatedly after an update may have a corrupt update files, requiring a rollback or reinstallation. A technician needs to encrypt a USB drive for Windows user. What built-in tools should they use? And now we are talking about Windows 11. What built-in tool we would have that would encrypt a USB drive for Windows user? Keyword here is Windows and USB drive. Windows Defender, BitLocker, Task Scheduler, Disk Cleanup, or Group Policy Editor. And the correct answer here is BitLocker. And you should know about BitLocker everything pretty much. That BitLocker is for encrypting your drives or hard drives or everything to do with encrypting whenever you hear a BitLocker. BitLocker encrypts drives to protect sensitive data. A user reports that they are unable to access the internet, but they can access internal company resources. What is the most likely cause? So, user can't access the internet, but at the same time they can access internal company resources. It means like company servers, your files on your company servers, that's what you can access, but you can't access internet. What is the most likely cause in this scenario? Faulty Ethernet cable, DHCP server failure, incorrect IP configuration, or ISP outage. What is the correct answer in this question? And correct answer is incorrect IP configuration. As if a user can access internal network resources but not the internet, the device likely has an incorrect gateway or DNS configuration, as you would need to configure DNS configuration or, for example, your gateway IP address, and if they are incorrectly configured, you might not be able to access internet. A technician is responding to a user who is upset about a slow PC. What is the best approach to de-escalate the situation? So user has a slow PC, he is connecting a technician. What would be the best approach to de-escalate this situation? Explain the technical issue immediately, listen actively and emphasize, offer a replacement PC, reboot the PC in front of the user, or escalate to a supervisor. What would be the best way to solve this issue for technician? As usually when users have a slow PC, they are very unhappy because they can't complete their tasks, or they are getting very annoyed when the PCs are getting slow in real world scenarios. Because, for example, they have some tasks which they need to do, but the PC is slow, and this makes users very stressful. And these are very, if you are an IT technician and if you are doing customer support, these are very, very dangerous situations because users are really getting very upset. So you should know how to resolve this issue, and this would be one of the most issues which could arise in company if you are working as an IT technician. And here, what is the correct answer? Here is the correct answer to listen actively and emphasize. As active listening and empathy help calm an upset user, building trust and allowing a technician to gather information to resolve the issue effectively. So you should pretty much approach this situation in your company as a technician in a very friendly way, trying to be kind of friend to the user, listening to him, and at the same time gathering data about the problem so you understand what user have done. For example, previously maybe he have installed something, updated some software and things like that, and that was the actual problem which made his computer slow. And next question, a technician is training employees on password best practices. Which recommendation should be emphasized? Use the same password for all accounts, include personal information in passwords, change passwords every 90 days, write passwords on sticky notes, or reuse old passwords. And here the most logical, or I would say even the only answer would be change passwords every 90 days. As regularly changing passwords, e.g. every 90 days, is the best practice to reduce the risk of unauthorized access, especially in a corporate environment. However, if you will be working in a company, this 90-day changing of your password will be pretty much programmed or delivered by an IT technician, or if you will be an IT technician, this is what you will also set up on the backend software to make users of your company to change their passwords every 90 days. Next question. A technician is documenting a hardware failure for warranty claim. What information should be included in the documentation? User's contact details, date of last software update, network configuration details, installed applications list, or failure symptoms and serial number. And here the correct answer is failure symptoms and serial number. As for a warranty claim, documenting the failure symptoms and the device's serial number is critical to identify the issue and verify warranty liability. A user reports a phishing email in their inbox. What should the technician instruct the user to do? Open the email to verify its contents, forward the email to IT, delete the email without opening, reply to the sender for clarification, or save the email for analysis. This is the funny thing, reply to the sender for clarification. Did he really send a phishing email? Okay, what would be the correct answer here? And the correct answer here is delete the email without opening, as phishing emails should be deleted without opening to avoid executing malicious code or clicking harmful links, protecting the user and system. A technician is disposing of old hard drives from a corporate office. What is the best method to ensure data security? Format the drives, use a degausser, overwrite with zeros, encrypt the drives, or shred the drives. What would be the best thing to do in this scenario? And the best thing would be to shred the drives, as physically shredding hard drives ensures that the data is irretrievable, providing the highest level of data security for disposal in a corporate environment. As, for example, if you have just deleted or overwritten the data on your drive, it can still be recovered. And next question, a user reports that their browser is slow and displays unwanted ads. The technician confirms no malware is present. What should be done next? Reset browser settings, update the browser, clear cache and cookies, check proxy settings, or disable extensions. And the correct answer here is disable extensions, as unwanted ads and slow browser performance in the absence of malware are often caused by rogue browser extensions. Disabling extensions identifies the culprit. A Windows 10 PC fails to install updates, displaying error code 0x80070057. What should the technician do first? Reinstall Windows, clear the software distribution folder, run Windows Updates Troubleshooter, update BIOS firmware, or check disk space. And the correct answer here is run Windows Update Troubleshooter, as the Windows Update Troubleshooter is a built-in tool that can diagnose and fix common update errors such as 0x80070057, making it the first step to try. A Linux user cannot install a software package due to dependency errors. What command should the technician use to resolve this issue? yum update, apt-get install-f, dpkg-config, rpm-uvh, snap refresh. And correct answer here is apt-get install-f, as on Debian-based systems the apt-get install-f -f command fixes broken dependencies by installing missing packages, resolving dependency errors during software installation. A user reports that their email client cannot connect to the server. The technician confirms the server is online and other users are unaffected. What should be checked first? Network adapter drivers, firewall rules, DNS server configuration, server authentication method, or email client settings. And the correct answer is email client settings. As if other users can connect to the email server, the issue is likely with the user's email client settings, e.g. incorrect server address, port, or credentials. And by the way guys, if you are really planning to pass your exams, Skill Test Pro is one of the brilliant resources which you could use, as these questions are very similar to these real exams on CompTIA Plus and CompTIA Plus Core 1 and Core 2 exams, so as they have PBQs which are also very similar to real exams. They are actually the same PBQs or practice-based questions as on the real exams. These are pretty much the previous exam questions. And next question is: a Windows 11 PC displays blue screen with a page fault in non-page dash area error. What is the most likely cause? Faulty RAM, corrupted system files, overheating CPU, outdated BIOS, or failing hard drive. And the correct answer here is faulty RAM. As the page fault in non-page area error is commonly caused by the faulty RAM, which fails to properly handle memory requests in a non-page area of the system. A macOS user reports that an application is unresponsive and the spinning beach ball appears. So this is pretty much the loader icon in macOS. What should the technician do to resolve this? Force quit the application, reboot the system, update the application, clear system cache, or run disk utility. And the correct answer here is force quit the application. As the spinning beach ball indicates an unresponsive application, force quit using command options plus escape terminates the application, allowing the user to relaunch it or troubleshoot further. A user reports that their Windows 10 PC is running slowly and Task Manager shows 100% disk usage. No single process is consuming excessive resources. What should the technician do first? Disable superfetch, run disk cleanup, update device drivers, check for malware, or defragment the drive. And the correct answer here is check for malware, as a high disk usage without a specific process identified is often caused by malware running background tasks. Scanning for malware is the first step to identify and remove potential threats. A company wireless network is compromised by an unauthorized device. The technician suspects a weakest encryption protocol. Which protocol should be replaced? So we are talking about the weakest encryption protocol on your router, for example, and which protocol would that be pretty much from these questions? VPA3, VPA2, WEP, TKIP, or AES. And here you should know that the weakest protocol, you should know straight away that it is WEP. As WEP or WEP is an outdated and insecure wireless encryption protocol, easily compromised by modern attacks. Replacing it with VPA3 or VPA2 enhances network security. And you might ask why VPA3 or VPA2, because VPA2 was released a little bit later, and VPA3 is the latest and the most secure. However, there are still older devices which doesn't support VPA3. That's why we still on some devices use VPA2, this Wi-Fi encryption protocol. However, on the all latest devices they already support VPA3, so we would use VPA3 Wi-Fi encryption protocol, as this is currently the most secure Wi-Fi encryption protocol out there. So next one, a technician is setting up a BitLocker on a Windows 10 Pro laptop. Keyword here is probably Pro. The user wants to use a USB key for authentication. What is required? TPM chip, UEFI firmware, group policy modification, recovery key, USB key with pin, which would be the correct answer for this question. And the correct answer here is TPM chip, as BitLocker with USB key authentication requires a trusted platform module, which is TPM chip, to restore cryptographic keys securely unless configured to bypass TPM using group policy. A user reports that their browser redirects to unfamiliar websites. The technician confirms no extensions are installed. What is the next step? Reset the browser settings, update the browser, clear DNS cache, check proxy settings, or reinstall the operating system. And the correct answer here is check proxy settings, as browser redirects to unfamiliar websites are often caused by a malicious proxy settings configured by malware, which should be checked and corrected. And next question, a technician is configuring a firewall to secure a small office network. Which port should be opened for a secure remote desktop access? 22, port 22, port 80, port 443, port 3389, or port 445. And the correct answer here is port 3389, as Remote Desktop Protocol or RDP uses port 3389 for secure remote desktop access, which must be opened in the firewall to allow this functionality. So this port 3389 should be open on your device's firewall. A user's Windows 11 laptop is locked with a ransomware message demanding payment. Backups are available. What should the technician do first? Pay the ransomware or ransom, restore from backup, disconnect the laptop from the network, run a malware scan, or reinstall Windows. And the correct answer here is disconnect the laptop from the network, as disconnecting the laptop from the network prevents the ransomware from spreading or communicating with command and control servers, allowing safe remediation. A technician discovers unauthorized software installed on workstation. The user denies installing it. What is the most likely cause? Use privilege escalation, corrupted operating system files, incorrect group policy, outdated antivirus, or malware infection. So, if user didn't install itself, as you can see here guys, a technician discovers unauthorized software installed on workstation. However, user says or denies that he has installed this software. So what is the most likely cause from all these answers? And the correct answer here is malware infection, as unauthorized software installation without user knowledge is a common symptom of malware, which can install programs without user consent. A company requires employees to use multi-factor authentication or MFA for email access, Which combination should the technician configure? So for email access, multi-factor authentication, so which combination should the technician configure? Password and security question, and here you should also know everything about these multi-factor authentications. However, this is very easy once you understand it. So password and security question, fingerprint and PIN, username and password, smart card and PIN, password and email OTP, which would be the correct answer here. And the correct answer is smart card and PIN. As MFA or multi-factor authentication requires 2 or more authentication factors, something you know, or something you have, or something you are. A smart card, something you have, and PIN, something you know, is a valid multi-factor authentication combination. A user receives a pop-up warning that their Windows PC is infected and must call a number to restore it or to resolve it. What should the technician do first? Run an antivirus scan, disconnect the PC from the network, update Windows, reboot in safe mode, or clear browser cache. And here you can see already how these questions work. Whenever your computer is infected, first thing, remember that first thing you want to disconnect it, and before you start resolving or looking what is the problem, if you have any suspicious that there is a malware, it is infected, or it has some bad things in your computer, you always first thing what you want to do is disconnect the PC from the network. Remember this for your exam. Whenever your computer is infected, if there is disconnection from the network, that's what the correct answer is most likely. So disconnect the PC from the network. A pop-up warning about the infections is likely malware or phishing scam. Disconnecting the PC from the network prevents further communication with malicious servers or data exfiltration. A technician is troubleshooting a Linux server that fails to mount a network drive. The network connection is active. What command should be used to verify the mount configuration? This is kind of very easy question, but if you don't know anything about Linux commands, this might be a hard question for you. So here are the answers. I will not be reading them through, or commands. So which one you would use? And the correct answer here is mount, as the mount command displays all currently mounted file systems, allowing the technician to verify if the network drive is properly mounted and check the configuration. A user reports that their Windows 11 PC is slow to shut down. Task Manager shows no high resource processes. What should the technician do next? Disable startup programs, update device drivers, run system file checker, clear temporary files, or check power settings. What would be the correct answer here? And the correct answer is run system file checker, as slow shutdowns can be caused by corrupted system files. Running the system file checker sfc/scan now can detect and repair corrupted files, potentially resolving the issue. A technician needs to configure a Windows 10 PC to join a corporate domain. The PC is on the correct network, but the join attempt fails. What should be checked first? Local admin privileges, network adapter drivers, firewall port settings, DNS server settings, or workgroup configuration, which is the correct answer here. And the correct answer is DNS server settings, as joining a domain requires resolving the domain controller's address, which depends on a correct DNS server settings. Incorrect DNS configuration is a common cause of a domain join failures. A Linux workstation displays a permission denied error when a user tries to run a script. The script is executable. What should the technician check? File ownership, user password, script syntax, kernel version, or system memory. And the correct answer is that the technician should check file ownership, I would say. File ownership, yes. A permission denied error on an executable script often indicates that the user lacks the necessary permissions due to incorrect file ownership or insufficient user privileges. A macOS user reports that an application crashes on launch. So, on macOS, an application crashes on launch. As a technician verifies the application is compatible with the operating system version. What should be tried next? Reinstall the application, update macOS, clear application cache, reset PRAM/NVRAM, or run disk utility. And the correct answer here is clear the application cache, as a caching application may be caused by a corrupted cache files. Clearing the application's cache is a non-invasive step to resolve the issue without affecting the system or application installation. Next question. A technician is setting up a dual boot system with Windows 11 and Ubuntu. After installing Ubuntu, Windows no longer boots. What is the most likely cause? Corrupted Windows partition, overwritten grub bootloader, incorrect BIOS settings, missing Ubuntu drivers, incompatible file systems. And the correct answer here is overwritten grub bootloader. You should also know what is the purpose, what is grub. Well, this is pretty much for operating systems where they start getting loaded from. As installing a Ubuntu often overrides the Windows bootloader with grub, causing Windows to fail to boot. Repairing the Windows bootloader using a recovery disk can resolve the issue. A technician is configuring a Windows 11 workstation for a user who needs to access a shared network folder. The user reports they cannot see the folder. What should the technician check first? Folder permissions, network cable connection, firewall settings, DNS configuration, or local user account type. And by the way, guys, to me, for example, studying for any exams which I have passed myself is the easiest way to do these practice tests. And like I mentioned, I have a course on Udemy where is 1230 questions for CompTIA Core 1 and Core 2 for these latest exams. If you want, you can go and check my Udemy course, or you can use Skill Test Pro. However, Skill Test Pro is also charges a little bit of charge, about $6, I believe. They now have discounts, or $6 monthly, or there's lifetime membership for $20 or $15. I don't remember really anymore because I'm already a member for a while, as you know, who are watching my channel. And yes, guys, which is the correct answer in this question? And the correct answer is folder permissions. Okay. If a user cannot see a shared network folder, the most likely issue is incorrect folder permissions, which may prevent the user from accessing or viewing the shared resource. Next question. A user's Windows PC fails to boot, displaying a boot MGR is missing error. The technician confirms that the hard drive is detected in BIOS. What is the next step? Reinstall Windows, replace the hard drive, update the BIOS, check the boot order, or run startup repair. And the correct answer here is run startup repair. As the boot MGR is missing, error indicates a corrupted or missing boot manager. Running startup repair from Windows recovery environment can repair the boot configuration and restored functionality. A user on Windows 11 workstation cannot print to a network printer, receiving the error. The print spooler service is not running. The user confirms they have administrative privileges and the printer was working yesterday. You suspect a malware infection may have disabled the printer spooler service. Which of the following should you do first to address this issue for the CompTIA Plus Core 02 220 1202 exam? Restart the print spooler service from the Services Management Console. Reinstall the printer driver to restore printing functionality. Check the printer's network connectivity settings. Perform a full system scan using Microsoft Defender antivirus. Use System Restore to revert to a previous restore point. And here the correct answer is that you should perform a full system scan using Microsoft Defender antivirus. As the error, the print spooler service is not running on Windows 11 workstation, combined with suspicion of malware infection, indicates the malicious software may have disabled or corrupted the printer spooler service, which manages print jobs. Performing a full system scan with Microsoft Defender antivirus, the built-in security tool for Windows 11, is the first step to detect and remove potential malware. A technician has just finished installing a secondary operating system on a workstation. After rebooting the computer, the technician receives the following error: no OS found. The technician confirms the boot.ini file is correct. Which of the following is the most likely causing this error? The computer has grub legacy installed, Windows startup services are not running, an unsupported version of Windows is installed, and an incompatible partition is marked as active. And the correct answer here is an incompatible partition is marked as active. This issue can occur if the partition that is set as active is not the one containing the bootable operating system, leading to the system being unable to find the operating system during startup. A technician is installing a private PC in a public workspace. Which of the following password practices should the technician implement on the PC to secure network access? Remove the guest account from the administrators group. Require authentication on wake up. Disable single sign-on. Issue a default strong password for all users. And here the correct answer is require authentication on wake up. The best practice for securing network access in this scenario is require authentication on wake up. This ensures that the PC is protected when it wakes from sleep or hibernation, preventing unauthorized access. Joey, an employee, took a company-issued Windows laptop home, but he is having trouble connecting to any of the shared hosts on his home media server. Joey has verified he is connected to the internet. Which of the following would explain why Joey cannot access his personal shares? An IP conflict is present, a firewall exception must be set, a corporate VPN is enabled, a home group must be enabled. And here the correct answer is a corporate VPN is enabled. The most likely reason Joey cannot access his personal shares is that a corporate VPN is enabled. When a corporate VPN is active, it can route all network traffic through the corporate network, which might block access to a local network resources like Joey's home media server. A user believes there is a virus on a laptop. The user installs additional real-time protection antivirus software, but is now experiencing extremely slow performance on the laptop. Which of the following should the technician do to resolve the issue and avoid recurrence? Uninstall one antivirus software program and install a different one. run OS updates, remove the user installed antivirus software, enable the quarantine feature on both antivirus software programs, activate real-time protection on both antivirus software programs. And here the correct answer is remove the user installed antivirus software, as the best course of action is to remove the user installed antivirus software. Running multiple real-time protection antivirus programs simultaneously can cause significant performance issues due to resource conflicts and high memory usage. A user who is running Windows XP calls a technician to upgrade the computer to a newer Windows operating system. The user states that the computer has only 1 GB of RAM and 16 GB of hard drive space with 1.7 GHz processor. Which of the following operating systems should a technician recommend to ensure the best performance on this computer? Windows 10, Windows 8.1, Windows 8, or Windows 7? And the correct answer here is Windows 7. As given the hardware specifications, 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB of hard drive space and 1.7 GHz processor, the best option for ensuring optimal performance would be Windows 7, as Windows 7 requires at least 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB of hard drive space and 1 GHz processor, making it more likely to run smoothly on older hardware. And next question 29. Joy, a customer, has informed a Tier 2 help desk technicians that a computer will not boot up. After about 10 minutes of troubleshooting, Joy is increasingly concerned and claims that the technician is wasting his time because he has already tried everything that has been suggested. Which of the following should the technician do? Record the call and send it to the local intranet for future technicians to learn how to deal with calls like this one. Ask more open-ended questions to see if the issue can be narrowed down in order to properly identify the issue and save time. Since Joey is concerned about time, suggest calling back later when Joey has more time to troubleshoot. Inform the customer that there is a troubleshooting script that must be followed to get the issue resolved. And here the correct answer is that you should ask more open questions to see if the issue can be narrowed down in order to properly identify the issue and save time. Which of the following security methods best describe when a user enters a username and password once for multiple applications? SSO, permission propagation, MFA, or inheritance? And here the correct answer is SSO. The security method that best describes when a user enters a username and password once for multiple applications is SSO, single sign-on. SSO allows user to log in once and gain access to multiple applications without needing to re-enter their credentials for each application. A technician is setting up a kiosk. The technician needs to ensure the kiosk is secure and users will have access to only the application needed for a customer interaction. A technician must also ensure that whenever the computer is rebooted or powered on, it logs in automatically without a password. Which of the following account types would the technician most likely set up on this kiosk machine? Administrator, a remote desktop user, power user, or guest? And the correct answer here is guest. The account type that a technician would most likely set up on the kiosk machine is a guest. A guest account is typically used for situations like kiosks where you want to provide limited access to specific applications and ensure security. Additionally, it can be configured to log in automatically without requiring a password, which is ideal for kiosk setup. A technician has been asked to recommend antivirus software for a home PC, but the user doesn't want to pay for a license. Which of the following license types should the technician recommend? Personal license, open license, corporate license, or enterprise license? And here the correct answer is open license. as an open license typically refers to software that is freely available for use, often including free antivirus solutions. This would be suitable for a user who does not want to pay for a license. A JOI, a system administrator, is setting up a risk management plan for the IT department. Part of the plan is to take daily backups for all servers. These server backups will be saved locally to NAS. Which of the following can JOI do to ensure the backups will work if needed? Set up alerts to let administrators know when backups fail. Store copies of the backups off-site in a secure data center. Frequently restore the servers from backup files and test them. Set up scripts that automatically run failed backup jobs. Or configure the backups to restore the two virtual machines for quickly recovery. And here the correct answer is frequently restore the servers from backup files and test them. And next question, a SOHO or small office, home office customer has recently experienced a major hurricane. The customer has no backups and has lost all data and hardware associated with the company. The customer calls the contractor to assist in the rebuilding process and needs suggestions on the best way to prevent this from happening again. Which of the following recommendations should the contractor give to the customer? Choose two options. Local storage backups, cloud storage, waterproof devices, data recovery, backup testing, or hot site. And here the correct answers is cloud storage and hot site. As cloud storage, storing data in the cloud ensures that it is safe from physical damage caused by the natural disasters. Cloud storage provides off-site backups, which are crucial for data recovery in such events. And a hot site is fully operational off-site data center that can take over operation almost immediately after disaster. This ensures minimal downtime and continuity of business operations. A technician is running updates on Windows PC. Some of the updates install properly while others appear as failed. While troubleshooting, the technician restarts the PC and attempts to install the failed updates again. The updates continue to fail. Which of the following is the first option to check? Look at the system event viewer to find more information on the failure. Visit the Microsoft Update website to see if there is an issue with a specific update. Download the failed update to install manually. Look up the error number associated with the failed update. Here the correct answer is look at the system event viewer to find more information on the failure. As the event viewer can provide detailed logs and error messages that can help identify the root cause of the update failures. This information is crucial for effective troubleshooting and can guide the technician on the next steps to take. A technician needs to edit protected.dll file but cannot find the file in the System32 directory. Which of the following control panel utilities should the technician use? Folder options, display, system, or indexing options? And here the correct answer is folder options. By accessing folder options, the technician can enable the visibility of hidden files and protected operating system files, which might be why the .dll file is not visible in the System32 directory. A technician has identified malware on the user's system. Which of the following should the technician do next according to malware removal best practices? Move the infected system to a lab with no network connectivity. Educate the user about how to avoid malware in the future. Enable system restore and create restore points so no data is lost. Or update the antivirus software and run full system scan. And here the correct answer is move the infected system to lab with no network connectivity, as isolating the infected system prevents the malware from spreading to other devices on the network. Once isolated, the technician can proceed with further steps like updating antivirus software and running full system scan. Question 38. A user Windows laptop has become consistently slower over time. A technician checks the CPU utilization and sees that it varies between 95% and 100%. After the technician closes some running applications, the CPU utilization drops to approximately 20%, and the laptop runs much faster. The next day, the same user calls again with the same problem. Which of the following is a tool the technician can use to resolve the issue? msconfig, perfmon, task manager, or mstsc? And here the correct answer is perfmon. Perform can help identify which processes or applications are causing the high CPU usage over time. By setting up performance counters and monitoring the system, the technician can pinpoint the root cause of the issue and take appropriate action to resolve it. A user is requesting a solution that will prevent file corruption and ensure the graceful shutdown while providing at least 1 hour of uptime in case of extreme weather conditions. Which of the following should the technician recommend? Surge protector, power disruption unit, uninterruptible power supply, or power strip? And here the correct answer is uninterruptible power supply. The best option to prevent file corruption, ensure a graceful shutdown, and provide at least 1 hour of uptime during extreme weather conditions is uninterruptible power supply. And question number 40, last question. Which of the following installation types would require use of an answer file to install the operating system? Clean, upgrade, unattended, or repair? And here the correct answer is unattended. The installation type that requires the use of an answer file to install the operating system is unattended. An answer file automates the installation process by providing all necessary configuration settings, allowing the operating system to be installed without user intervention.